In the bustling halls of an Atlanta high school, Jamal Johnson tried to make himself invisible. At 17, he was used to being the biggest kid in the room, but that didn't make the constant teasing any easier. As he sat in the back of his biology class, he caught fragments of whispered insults, whale, fatty, blob, each word a dagger to his already fragile self-esteem. That afternoon, Jamal stood before the full-length mirror in his bedroom, really looking at himself for the first time in months. He saw the rolls of fat around his midsection, the way his t-shirt strained against his chest. But as he stared into his own eyes, he saw something else too, a spark of determination, a glimmer of the strong young man trapped inside this body that didn't reflect his true essence. Inspired by a motivational video he'd stumbled upon online, Jamal made a decision. He grabbed a notebook and pen, writing in bold letters at the top of the page, "My fitness journey." As he listed his goals, lose 100 pounds, run a 5K, fit into a size L shirt, Jamal felt a sense of excitement building. For the first time in years he had a purpose, a direction. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was ready to fight for the life he wanted. That night, as Jamal lay in bed, his mind raced with possibilities. He imagined walking through school halls with confidence, no longer the target of ridicule. He pictured himself running on a track, strong and athletic. These visions of a better future fueled his determination. Tomorrow, he decided, would be the first day of his new life. The next day, Jamal found himself standing outside the local gym, his heart pounding with a mixture of anticipation and fear. As he pushed open the door, the smell of sweat and rubber hit him immediately, along with the rhythmic sounds of machines whirring and weights clanking. He felt every eye in the place turn to him as he approached the front desk, his cheeks burning with embarrassment. After signing up for a membership, Jamal was introduced to a personal trainer named Marcus. Unlike the judgmental looks he'd received from others, Marcus' eyes were kind and encouraging. "Welcome, Jamal," Marcus said, shaking his hand firmly. "I'm excited to work with you and help you reach your goals." Over the next hour, Marcus explained the importance of both nutrition and exercise in a fitness journey. He helped Jamal develop a balanced meal plan and showed him how to use some of the basic gym equipment. "Remember," Marcus said as they finished up, "fitness is a marathon, not a sprint. Be patient with yourself and celebrate every small victory along the way." In the weeks that followed, Jamal threw himself into his new routine with a dedication that surprised even himself. Every day after school he headed straight to the gym, pushing through the discomfort and exhaustion. There were moments when he wanted to quit, when the voice of self-doubt crept in and told him he was foolish for thinking he could change. One particularly grueling day, Jamal found himself on the treadmill, sweat pouring down his face as he gasped for air. His legs felt like lead and every step was agony. But then he remembered the list of goals he'd written, now taped to his bedroom mirror. With a surge of determination, Jamal increased the speed on the treadmill, pushing himself harder than he ever had before. As he ran, tears mixing with sweat on his cheeks, Jamal felt something shift inside him. This wasn't just about losing weight anymore. It was about proving to himself and the world that he was stronger than anyone, including himself, had ever given him credit for. It was during one of these intense workout sessions that Jamal first noticed Mia. She was about his age, with dark curly hair pulled back in a ponytail, determination etched on her face as she lifted weights. What caught Jamal's attention was the way other gym-goers seemed to give her a wide berth, some even throwing disapproving glances her way. One day, as they were both refilling their water bottles, Jamal gathered his courage and spoke to her. "Hey, I'm Jamal. I've seen you around here a lot." Mia looked surprised, then guarded. "Hello," she replied cautiously. "I'm Mia." They ended up talking for nearly an hour, sharing their experiences with bullying and feeling like outsiders. Jamal learned that Mia had moved to Atlanta from Venezuela when she was 5, but still faced discrimination because of her accent and background. As they talked, a bond began to form between them. They recognized in each other a shared struggle for acceptance, albeit for different reasons. "You know," Mia said thoughtfully, "we should start a support group at school. I bet there are lots of other kids dealing with similar issues." Energized by their new friendship and shared purpose, Jamal and Mia spent the next few weeks planning their support group. They approached the school counselor, who was enthusiastic about the idea, and helped them secure a classroom for weekly meetings. At their first meeting, Jamal and Mia nervously waited to see if anyone would show up. To their surprise and delight, the room slowly filled with a diverse group of students, each carrying their own stories of struggle and resilience. As the weeks passed, the support group grew, becoming a safe haven for students who felt marginalized or bullied. Jamal and Mia found themselves not just sharing their own experiences, but also learning from others, gaining new perspectives on the challenges of acceptance and self-love. As Jamal's body began to change, he faced new and unexpected challenges. One Saturday night he found himself at a house party, invited by a classmate who had started to notice him more since he'd begun losing weight. Standing in front of his closet, trying to decide what to wear, Jamal felt an unfamiliar pressure. For the first time in his life he was worried about looking cool enough. At the party, Jamal felt like he had stepped into a different world. The music was loud, the laughter louder, and everywhere he looked, he saw people who seemed to embody the societal standards of beauty he had always felt so far from. Girls in crop tops showing off flat stomachs, guys with bulging biceps in tight t-shirts. Jamal tugged self-consciously at his own shirt, which still strained slightly against his stomach despite his weight loss. He found himself comparing his body to every guy in the room, feeling increasingly insecure with each comparison. As he stood awkwardly by the snack table, nursing a soda and trying to look like he was having fun, he spotted Mia across the room. She was talking to a group of girls, but Jamal could see the tension in her posture, the forced smile on her face. Making his way over to her, Jamal overheard snippets of the conversation. One girl was asking Mia where she was really from, while another commented on how exotic she looked. Jamal could see the frustration and hurt in Mia's eyes, even as she politely answered their questions. "Hey Mia," Jamal said, stepping into the group. "Can I borrow you for a second?" As they moved to a quieter corner of the room, both let out sighs of relief. "Thanks for the rescue," Mia said. "I was about 2 minutes away from telling those girls exactly where they could shove their exotic comments." Jamal chuckled, but it was half-hearted. "Yeah, well, I needed rescuing too. I feel so out of place here. Everyone looks so perfect." Mia's expression softened. "Oh Jamal, don't you see? That's exactly what we've been fighting against in our group. True beauty comes from within, remember? It's about who you are, not what you look like." Her words hit home, reminding Jamal of why he had started this journey in the first place. It wasn't about looking like everyone else. It was about becoming the best version of himself. As months passed, Jamal's dedication to his fitness journey began to yield visible results. His clothes hung looser on his frame, and he found himself needing to buy smaller sizes. The face that looked back at him in the mirror was changing too, his jawline more defined, his eyes brighter and more confident. One day, while browsing social media, Jamal stumbled upon an advertisement for a local fitness competition. Without overthinking it, he decided to sign up. The old Jamal would have scoffed at the idea of participating in such an event, but now he felt a spark of excitement at the challenge. The weeks leading up to the competition were grueling. Jamal increased the intensity of his workouts, fine-tuned his diet, and even started practicing posing in front of the mirror. Mia was his biggest cheerleader, offering encouragement and helping him prepare. On the day of the competition, Jamal arrived at the venue with butterflies in his stomach. As he changed into his competition outfit, fitted shorts and a tank top that showed off his newly defined muscles, he caught sight of himself in the mirror. For a moment, he hardly recognized the person staring back at him. Gone was the shy, overweight boy who used to hide in the back of the classroom. In his place stood a young man with clear eyes, broad shoulders, and a determined set to his jaw. As Jamal made his way to the stage, he spotted some familiar faces in the crowd. There, in the front row, were some of his former bullies from school. Their eyes widened in disbelief as they recognized him, whispering among themselves. The competition was intense, with participants showcasing their strength, flexibility, and overall fitness through a series of challenges. Jamal surprised everyone, including himself, with his performance. His determination and the genuine joy he took in pushing his body to its limits shone through, captivating the audience and the judges alike. As he completed his final routine, a grueling combination of burpees, pull-ups, and sprints, Jamal heard something unexpected: applause. Not just polite clapping, but enthusiastic cheering. He looked out into the crowd and saw people on their feet, including his former bullies, their faces a mix of shock and admiration. When the results were announced, Jamal hadn't won first place, but he had placed in the top 5, an incredible achievement for his first competition. As he stood on the podium, accepting his medal, he felt a surge of pride unlike anything he'd ever experienced before. The Monday after the competition, Jamal walked into school with a new air of confidence. Word of his performance had spread, and he found himself the center of attention for the first time in his life. Students who had once ignored or teased him now approached him with congratulations and questions about his training regimen. Even some of his former tormentors seemed to view him differently. One of them, a boy named Tyler who had been particularly cruel in the past, approached Jamal at his locker. "Hey man," Tyler said, rubbing the back of his neck awkwardly. I saw you at the competition. That was pretty impressive." Jamal studied Tyler's face, seeing genuine admiration mixed with discomfort. For a moment, he was transported back to those painful days of relentless bullying. But then he remembered his own journey, the lessons he'd learned about forgiveness and growth. "Thanks, Tyler," Jamal replied, his voice steady. "It's been a long journey." Tyler nodded, looking uncomfortable. "Look, I owe you an apology. The way I treated you before, it was messed up. I'm sorry." Jamal felt a mix of emotions, surprise, vindication, and an unexpected sense of compassion. He realized that Tyler, like many bullies, probably had his own insecurities and struggles. "I appreciate that, Tyler," Jamal said. "It means a lot to hear it." As Tyler walked away, Jamal felt as if a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. He had faced one of his biggest fears, confronting his bully, and had come out stronger for it. Throughout the day, Jamal found himself fielding questions about his transformation. Many students, inspired by his story, asked for advice on fitness and self-improvement. By lunchtime, a small crowd had gathered around his table, listening intently as he shared his experiences. It was during this impromptu sharing session that Jamal had an epiphany. His journey wasn't just about personal transformation anymore. It was about inspiring others to believe in themselves and pursue their own paths to self-improvement. As he looked around at the eager faces of his classmates, Jamal felt a new sense of purpose settling over him. He realized that his story had the power to make a real difference in people's lives. With that realization, the seeds of his future as a motivational speaker and youth advocate were planted. Months after his return to school, Jamal received an unexpected invitation. His old high school was holding an assembly on bullying and body positivity, and they wanted him to be the keynote speaker. The irony wasn't lost on Jamal. He was being asked to address the very issues that had once made his life miserable in the same halls where he had. As Jamal stood backstage on the day of the event, he felt a mix of emotions, nervousness, certainly, but also a sense of coming full circle. He peeked out at the auditorium, now filled with students, teachers, and even some parents. Among the crowd he spotted Mia, giving him a thumbs up. When it was time, Jamal took a deep breath and stepped onto the stage. The spotlight felt warm on his face as he approached the podium, looking out at the sea of faces, some attentive, some bored, some clearly struggling with their own insecurities. Jamal felt a surge of empathy. "Good morning, everyone," he began, his voice steady. "Some of you might know me as the guy who lost a bunch of weight and started winning fitness competitions. But what many of you don't know is that just a few years ago, I was sitting where you are now, feeling invisible, worthless, and alone." As Jamal shared his story, the bullying, the self-doubt, the decision to change, and the hard work that followed, he could see his words resonating with many in the audience. Some nodded in understanding, others wiped away tears. "But this isn't just about weight loss or getting fit," Jamal continued. "It's about learning to love yourself, to see your own worth regardless of what others think or say. It's about finding the strength inside you to overcome whatever obstacles life throws your way." He talked about the support group he and Mia had started, emphasizing the importance of community and mutual support. "No one should have to face their struggles alone," he said. "Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is reach out for help or offer it to someone else in need." As he neared the end of his speech, Jamal's eyes fell on a group of students in the front row, his former bullies. They looked different now, older and somehow smaller than he remembered. But what struck him most was the look in their eyes, a mix of regret, admiration, and something that looked a lot like hope. I stand here today not as someone who's perfect or who has all the answers, Jamal said, his voice filled with emotion. I'm here as living proof that change is possible, that your past doesn't have to define your future. Each of you has the power to write your own story, become the person you want to be. As he finished speaking, the auditorium erupted in applause. Students rose to their feet, many with tears in their eyes. Jamal felt overwhelmed by the response, realizing the impact his words had made. As the applause died down and students began to file out of the auditorium, Jamal noticed a small group hanging back. With a jolt, he recognized them as former tormentors, the very ones who had made his high school life a living hell. Led by Tyler, the group approached Jamal hesitantly. The atmosphere was tense, charged with unspoken emotions and shared history. Jamal, Tyler began. His voice uncharacteristically subdued. I owe you an apology. What you did up there was incredible and it made me realize how much damage we caused. Jamal studied their faces, seeing a mix of shame, regret, and uncertainty. For a moment, he was transported back to those painful days of relentless teasing and isolation. The hurt and anger he had buried deep inside threatened to resurface. Taking a deep breath, Jamal chose his words carefully. I appreciate you saying that, Tyler. It couldn't have been easy to come up here. Tyler nodded, looking uncomfortable. We were wondering if there's any way we could make things right. Jamal felt a complex swirl of emotions. Part of him wanted to lash out, to make them feel even a fraction of the pain they had caused him. But another part, the part that had grown and evolved through his journey, recognized this as an opportunity for growth, for both himself and his former bullies. You know, Jamal said slowly, there was a time when I would have given anything to hear those words from you. But the truth is, the apology isn't for me, it's for you. What matters now is what you do moving forward. He looked at each of them in turn. If you really want to make things right, start by being kinder to yourselves and to others. Use your experiences to help prevent bullying, to stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves. The group listened intently, nodding with growing understanding. As they talked, other students who had lingered after the assembly began to gather around, drawn by the powerful scene unfolding. One of the former bullies, a girl named Sarah, spoke up. Could we maybe join your support group? Learn how to be better. Jamal felt a surge of hope. This was more than he could have ever imagined. His former tormentors not only apologized but actively sought to change. It was a testament to the power of transformation and the ripple effect it could have. Of course, Jamal said, a small smile forming on his lips. Everyone's welcome. That's kind of the whole point. As the conversation continued, Jamal noticed a shift in the atmosphere. The tension began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of possibility and new beginnings. Students who had been silent observers started to join in, sharing their own experiences and aspirations. What had started as a confrontation was transforming into something much more powerful, a moment of collective healing and understanding. Jamal realized that this, perhaps even more than his speech, was the true impact of his journey. He had created a space where even the most unlikely of transformations could begin. In the days following the assembly, Jamal's inbox was flooded with messages from students, teachers, and even parents. Many shared their own struggles with bullying, body image, and self-esteem. Others expressed gratitude for his openness and vulnerability, saying his story had given them hope. One message in particular stood out. It was from a freshman named Alex who wrote, I've been thinking about dropping out because of the bullying, but after hearing you speak I realized I'm not alone. I joined the support group yesterday, and for the first time in months I felt like I belonged somewhere. Thank you for showing me that change is possible. Moved by these responses, Jamal and Mia decided to expand their support group. They worked with the school administration to create a more comprehensive program, including workshops on self-esteem, conflict resolution, and mental health awareness. The impact rippled beyond the school walls. Local news stations picked up the story, interviewing Jamal about his transformation and the anti-bullying initiative. Soon, other schools in the district began reaching out, asking Jamal to speak at their assemblies and help set up similar programs. Jamal found himself thrust into a new role, that of a youth advocate and motivational speaker. He began traveling to different schools, sharing his story and helping establish support networks for struggling students. At one such event, a parent approached Jamal with tears in her eyes. "My son has been battling depression due to bullying," she said. "After hearing you speak, he opened up to us for the first time in years. You're changing lives, Jamal." These experiences reinforced Jamal's belief in the power of shared stories and community support. He realized that his journey of transformation wasn't just about personal growth. It was about creating a ripple effect of positive change. As the support group expanded, Jamal and Mia found themselves mentoring other students to become peer counselors. They organized community events, bringing together students, parents, and educators to address issues of bullying and mental health. The message was clear. No one had to face their struggles alone. There was strength in vulnerability, power in community, and hope in shared experiences. As Jamal's influence grew, he received an unexpected invitation. The school board was implementing a new district-wide anti-bullying initiative, and they wanted Jamal to be a key advisor on the project. It would involve developing curriculum, training teachers, and working directly with students to create a more inclusive and supportive school environment. Excited by the opportunity, Jamal threw himself into the work. He spent weeks collaborating with educators, psychologists, and fellow students to create a comprehensive program. The initiative was set to launch with a major event at Jamal's old high school, where he would unveil the new curriculum. On the day of the event, as Jamal stood backstage preparing for his presentation, he noticed a commotion near the back of the auditorium. Curious and slightly concerned, he made his way through the crowd to investigate. As he approached, the crowd parted, revealing a familiar face. One that made Jamal's heart skip a beat. It was Marcus, his old personal trainer from the gym where his transformation had begun all those years ago. Marcus looked older now, his hair streaked with gray, but his eyes still held that same encouraging sparkle. He was standing next to a young man who bore a striking resemblance to Jamal in his high school days. Overweight, shoulders hunched, eyes downcast. "Jamal," Marcus called out, his voice thick with emotion. "I'm sorry to crash your event like this, but I need your help." Jamal approached, his mind racing.